Oh yes, now we get to bring a touch of magic to these proceedings. Hello everyone, and welcome back down here to the Gamer's Den with me, your host, Jordan, your Master of Lore and Storyteller Extraordinaire, going on now to the first edition Pathfinder Sorcerers spell selections, today talking about 0 and 1st level spells. Now, if you're new here to the channel, go on down there to hit the subscribe button and become a regular member here at the Gamer's Den, or if you've already gone ahead and done that and listed yourself on such a legendary roster of incredible heroes, then go on down to hit the like button and share the video far and wide. But now, let's go ahead and start talking about your magic. So, for 0 level spells, you're going to end up knowing all the cantrips eventually anyways, your only limitation being, whatever the circumstances may be that you're casting in. Really, this is where you get to just kind of fall back on and spam some of these out a bit. But not all of the cantrips are created equal, and not all of them are going to be equally useful to you. So here are going to be the most useful ones, starting with Detect Magic. So this lets you detect magical auras within a 60-foot cone area. The more rounds you focus, the more information you're able to glean with the spell. Then we have Prestidigitation. It lasts 1 hour and has a 10-foot range, allows you to perform numerous minor tricks, moving things, cleaning and soiling objects, altering colors, chilling, warming, or flavoring different materials, presumably food. I mean, you could flavor the dirt if you wanted, really start messing with people, but hey, really, there's a lot that can be done with this. It's only limited by your creativity and what the DM's willing to allow. Given that Prestidigitation does a lot of really subtle minor things, you can use this to do a lot of different subtle minor things to stack up in interesting ways to really mess with people. So again, go wild, go nuts, and start playing around with what your DM's willing to allow you to get away with. And then we have Ghost Sound. It's a close range spell, so it's 25 feet plus 5 feet every 2 caster levels, and you can create sounds that can be adjusted, mobile, or fixed, equal to 4 humans per caster level. There's a will save to disbelieve the effect, and this spell can be used to enhance the Silent Image spell. And then going on after that, from there, we come into our 1st level spells. And the first one I would really recommend for you is Mount. This summons a light horse or a pony within that 25 foot plus 5 foot every 2 caster levels to serve as a willing mount and lasts 2 hours per level. Not only is this great for your overland travel and mobility, but it's a willing mount. It's a physical being that you can use as cover. Really, there's a lot that you could actually do with Mount. It's a great 1st level spell for you. The fact that you can use it as cover, however cruel that might be or seem, is a great benefit to you. And then, we mentioned it earlier, we have Silent Image. You create a silent image equal to 4 10-foot cubes plus 1 10-foot cube per level within a long-range 400-foot plus 40 feet per level range. The image can be moved within the confines of its size, but does not create sound, smell, or textures. There is a will save to disbelieve the effect. However, remember, you can use Ghost Sound to enhance it with, sounds. So you can start to really create some complex images with just a 1st level spell and a 0 level spell combo. This is great. There's a lot that you can do with this. And remember, if you're a gnome and you used the spell focus feat to focus on illusions, you can really start amping up your illusion save DCs for all of your opponents interacting with your various illusions. And then you also have Grease, which is another fantastic spell. You create a layer of grease over a 10-foot square area within 25 foot plus 5 feet every 2 levels of range. There are reflex saves to avoid falling. Moving at half speed allows your opponents or targets, or anybody who actually happens to be moving in the area, to make acrobatics checks. Failing these checks will require that they make a reflex save, while failing by 5 is an auto fail. Bear in mind, this spell can also be used in a number of other situations, such as if you cast it on, say, one of your allies who's been grappled by a larger target. They now get a +10 bonus to any of their combat maneuver checks to escape or acrobatics checks to escape. So definitely lots of handy uses with this particular spell. And then we also have Enlarged Person. Now, Enlarged Person takes 1 round to cast, and it lasts 1 minute per level. You can enlarge one humanoid creature to the next size category. This will give a +2 to strength, -2 penalty to dex, and a -1 penalty, size penalty to their armor class. But the target will then occupy a 10-foot space and have a natural 10-foot reach. And remember, all of their equipment is going to match their size once you've increased their size. Your fighters, rangers, paladins are all going to love you. And just imagine if any of your allies are using pole arms and then you make them large size. You couple the fact that they already had reach with this 10-foot reach that they're getting, and they are going to be dominating and controlling the battlefield. It's going to be devastating. This is a great one to have and definitely incredible for you to use. Just remember, this is limited to humanoid targets, so a lot of the creatures that you bring out with your summon monster spells are not going to be subject to this. And then lastly, we have Color Spray. It has a 15-foot cone area effect and has a number of different effects that it will throw out there depending on your opponent's hit dice. There is a will save to negate, however. If they have 2 hit dice or less, they are rendered unconscious, blinded, and stunned for 2d4 rounds. Then they become blinded and stunned for 1d4 rounds. And then finally, they will only be stunned for 1 round afterwards. If they have 3 to 4 hit dice, they get to be blinded and stunned for 1d4 rounds, and then stunned for 1 round. 5 hit dice, they end up stunned for 1 round. So this is just a nice, insane blend of status ailments to throw down on your opponents. I mean, unconscious renders them helpless effectively. Blinded and stunned, however, really messes with your opponents. Being unconscious and some of these other effects do not apply to creatures like undead, but even still, this is great. This is really useful for you to have. It does drop off as you advance in level, however. Once you're fighting higher and higher hit dice creatures, this isn't really going to do a whole lot for you, but for starting off, this is a great one to have. But bear in mind, these are not the only spells that you will get to know, and certainly these are not the only ones that you can find use with. I mean, you have spells like Magic Missile. It's a classic, definitely a good one to have, and you know what? It's a long-range spell, and it's going to hit every time, unless the target has total cover of some kind. And then you also have Mage Armor, although I would say Mage Armor is probably more useful as a wand, but if your wands can get kind of expensive, especially wands of Mage Armor. So just play around with your spell list overall. These are just the ones I would definitely recommend you have in your spells known list, however. Definitely ones that you should be starting with, at least. But what do you think? Go on down to the comments below and let me know your thoughts. Did you like these spell lists? Do you dislike it? And why do you disagree? Let me know your thoughts down below and hit those like or dislike buttons. And remember, if you're new here to the channel, go on down to hit the subscribe button and become a regular member. But with all of that said, I've been your host, Jordan, your master of lore and storyteller extraordinaire. Thank you all so very much for your time, and you all have yourselves a good night.